Thank you, Excellency, for your statement, which clearly articulates what the African Union has asked the world. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I now have the honor to welcome His Excellency Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, President of the Arab Republic of Egypt, to deliver his opening address.
Thank you very much.
In the name of Allah, the most benevolent, the most merciful, Your Excellencies, heads of states of African countries, heads of governments and international organizations, the governance of central banks, ladies and gentlemen, our dear guests. It is my great pleasure to welcome you the city of peace, Sharm el-Sheikh, that is honored by receiving this annual meeting of the ADBF for 2023. Such meetings, Egypt was keen to receive for the third time in its territory, emphasizing our support for international and regional efforts to support developmental activities in the continent. Ladies and gentlemen, you know all the challenges and complex challenges that the countries of the world are facing to recover from the negative effects of COVID-19 on the international economy. That was followed by the Ukrainian-Russian crisis and this complicated international arena with complications that caused big disturbance in the international supply chains. And this was also reflected strongly on the economy of the development countries and on the economies of African countries that were facing internal challenges, which requires ideas outside of the box in order to find finance solutions in order to promote and push the most urgent projects, especially to face the challenges of climate change and sustainable development. And it suffices to refer to the size of some financial requirements of the African countries according to the UN and the FDB calculations. Just as an example, we can mention 200 billions per year in order to achieve the SDGs. $144 billion per year in order to cover the negative effects of COVID-19, $108 billion per year to finance the upgrading of infrastructure projects. This reflects the importance of such meetings in order and the role of the FDB in order to provide financing solutions to the countries of the region that are facing the hard formula, providing all the big requirements to finance development and to face the challenge at the same time in order to build appropriate financial structures that would attract, and this requires the support of international financial organizations in order to finance the African countries. I would like to make to invite through this opportunity all multilateral development agencies and banks in order to revise all the conditions and requirements of finance to African countries in order to allow this to the low and mid-income countries equally, especially with the increase on the loan conditions and debt services with all the negative effects on public finances. Ladies and gentlemen, the problem of climate change and all negative consequences is not limited to a state or to a certain region. It is an existential issue that should be heading of all the development priorities of all countries in the world. And contrary to what is thought, the negative impacts is aggravated to less developed countries, which is very clear in the African continent. As such, consequences are increasing the levels of drought and desertification and the decrease of agriculture yields. The indications related to drought only in African countries led to losses that exceed $70 billion, and in addition to reduce agricultural production by 34%. The financing requirements in order to face such negative consequences of climate change are expected by $3 trillion till 2030. And we have to indicate that the COP27 had positive results that was headed by Egypt, and among them was the agreement to establish a fund to provide the necessary finance to cover the losses of countries that were affected by climate disasters. Ladies and gentlemen, the actual facts of the economic realities require the private sector to provide more investment in order to develop the environment-friendly projects and more clean energy and support the required policies. And in this sense, Egypt is giving big importance to the environmental dimension, as the Egyptian government in 2021 issued the first guidelines for environmental sustainability under the name of the strategic framework for green recovery, with all the indications in order to streamline the SDGs in the environmental policies in order to improve welfare. It is clear that the activities of the AFDB this year is representing an exceptional opportunity to exchange knowledge and expert opinions to face the consequences of climate change and to present a clear agenda according to clear timeline in order to determine the mechanism to face the different challenges that are faced by the African continent in order to reach the achievement of the SDGs. Dear guests of Egypt, at the conclusion, I would like to thank you all, to welcome you and hope for you the best in this version of the annual meetings of the FDB. And that I thank for the continuous efforts to support the development projects in our continent, which leads us to look for more successful cooperation with the multilateral development banks, and hoping for the welfare. And may God bless you, and thank you.
Can we put our hands once more for His Excellency? Thank you, Excellency. With that strong and inspiring address, we are winding down the opening ceremony because we will be transitioning into the presidential dialogue themed the changing global financial architecture and the role of MDBs. Before we go there, let me make a few announcements. In the transition, we will have a little break to enable the heads of state to depart the hall and prepare for the dialogue. And thereafter, after the dialogue, there will be a high-level luncheon by invitation at the Capitol Restaurant. Of course, those invitations would have gone out by now. Also this evening, there will be a state dinner sponsored by the Arab Republic of Egypt, also by invitation, and I'm sure those invitations would also have gone out. Let me also use this occasion of the opening ceremony to remind you something alluded to